Waiōhiki mai whānau at our back door. We had no sirens, no alarm going off on our phones. We had nothing.
Shala Hawaikirangi, returning to her family home in the small Hawke's Bay community of Waiōhiki, almost a week after Cyclone Gabrielle sent residents fleeing from their homes.
It was so swift that if you did one slip, you were gone. It was so swift. It was the scariest time of my life, that whole day. And when I went and got my neighbours, that deep, but just in there, maybe 15, 20 minutes, boom. So that was, my son picked up his dog. I held my auntie in the middle of us and my daughter and waited for the truck to come down, which was our Uncle Boo Boo. Oh, he hadn't had this truck out here that night, that day, we would have been on our roofs.
Down the road in a new Papakainga development, former New Zealand Rugby Sevens rep Julie Ferguson didn't have time to grab her go-bag she carefully packed the night before.
I was wary of the weather and the cyclone coming. I did have stuff ready and I kept checking outside at night, but the next time I looked out, it was right up to the front door. Then I was like, how am I going to get out? Because a lot of the windows have got those locks on them. So I was like, I've got to go out the front door. It was coming through like here, and when I opened the door, it like whoosh, and it went right around the room like this, and it just knocked everything over, and then it went calm. Then I moved.
That is a lot shallower than it was.
The water rose at such a speed that whānau became trapped in homes, many still asleep, unaware the water was dangerously close.
In that time, Uncle Boo Boo had the truck. There was nowhere to go safely, so he backed up to the barbecue table and we started getting our nannies up on the truck, and then we got onto the road and we're like, let's go to higher ground. Maybe the marae, we'll go to the marae. We could see some people coming out of their homes.
How are we going to get to them? Oh, they got a truck there.
Terrified, whānau took refuge at their newly built marae. 2 restless nights followed as more than 100 people were trapped with no power, no communication, only basic supplies, and unsure whether the rising waters would reach them.
We thought we could sustain ourselves for a while, you know, but then in the back of our mind we still knew that there was a lot of people here to look after and supplies will run out real quick. I think at one time we had 120 people. We had no running water, no power. That was the only point that we could go.
In Omahu, just 7 kilometres down the road, similar scenes were being played out. This time, the Ngaruroro River burst its banks, wiping out homes and the village's Urupa.
Happened really fast. Apparently it started flooding up Taihape Road first, and so whānau up there were being asked to evacuate, but none of our community down here knew. So everyone's still walking around trying to figure out what's going on, and a few of us that just chanced it and went through the flood onto the bridge and over the other side. The water was right up to the top of the bridge.
The next day, these were the scenes that greeted them.
Devastated. Omahu, our Urupa is just, all our whānau displaced. Stuff everywhere. My grandmother's house got wiped out. My nephew's house has been wiped out. They were situated right where the bank burst. There's going to be a major clean-up here. A lot of our homes had water through. We're just grateful that all our whānau are safe.
Across the Hawke's Bay, 18 bridges were damaged and 6 destroyed. Communities were isolated. After 2 days, the army came and retrieved the whānau from Waiōhiki.
It felt like a war zone, I think, and that was nothing compared to what that whānau coming in those gates had just experienced. Imagine what they'd just paddled out of and swam out of for their lives.
Waipatu Marae members had earlier undergone civil defence training through Te Puni Kōkiri and became an unofficial hub for the iwi response.
When we did this training, there was 5 marae involved, and Waiōhiki was one of them. So to see our classmates and for us to stand there and stand up for them and offer them what we had all learnt together, It was just organic, it just happened really naturally, but that's what we do as Māori. We are just natural first responders.
Well-formed networks kicked in to get supplies to whānau.
We preempted this would happen. It's been on our news all across the Pacific, and we weren't going to get caught short. We kept this place on red alert, and our kids and our mokapunas just kicked in, took over, and to sort of get out of the way, old man.
Did anyone expect the level of this?
We never expected the swiftness and ferocity and the sudden panic right across Hawke's Bay. And we saw people screaming for help in the middle of the night, and the winds were wild, and the rivers were rising and the sea was roaring.
Careful, the current gets strong. Hey, it's all right, it's all right.
In Omahu, with the bridge reopened, whānau who had been evacuated returned to the village to start the clean-up. People's lives piled on the roadside.
It's just something we've never seen before in Hawke's Bay. So yeah, now we're dealing with the fallout.
As connectivity started to click in, more and more stories began to emerge of the effects of Cyclone Gabrielle. One of the hardest hit areas, Tangoio.
When I saw the images of waving to the Marae, it's the most crying I've done in ages. Everyone's heartbroken and wants to see the symbol of their identity, but it's going to be broken. You know, it's sort of hard to go in there because it's my life, you know, it's who I am. It's my symbol of strength and it's smashed.
Joe Taylor began construction of Te Pūnanga o Te Wao in 1982, when the original wharenui was condemned and had to be pulled down.
This land was my great-grandfather's, and was them that built the old wharenui. I cooked the old kōruru, and I put it out on the wahoro. It was a memorial for our grandfather, and that kōruru went up there for them.
Has the kōruru survived the flood?
We're looking for it. The wahoro was cleaned out, but just today, they said they found some of it, and they told me,
Each tukutuku panel made from kia and pingao, carefully woven by the hapu to fit into precisely measured spaces by Joe.
So proud of our marae. That's why you can see the tangi coming for our tipuna. It's our jewel in the crown. It still is. I won't take this part down until that's there, because it still gives us strength.
More than 100 hapu members gathered last week to put the whare to sleep so recovery of the taonga can begin.
You're looking at about 2,000 barrel loads have to come out of there. It's heart-wrenching, very, very sad, but I've got to try and keep things together for our whānau. And I think I've done pretty good.
Brave faces, now the default position in the rohe, as the impact of Gabrielle sinks in.
What's your overview on how whānau are coping?
Whānau finding it rough, tough, finding it difficult to share their thoughts, and so there's emotional and mental health support that's needed.
And as time has gone on, are things starting to catch up on everyone?
Yes, especially when we come back here, you know, when we have a bit of downtime, you know, you start to think about that morning when we wake up. Yeah, tears start coming down. It's like, no, gotta be strong. We can do this as a hapu.
Weeks into the clean-up operation, an end isn't immediately clear. Bad weather has hampered efforts and causes a new level of anxiety.
When you walk into your home, do you see progress or?
Yes and no. Yeah, even like I spent the last day or day or two away, and then I come back again. It still hits me in the face again when I come back, like, just crazy. It's just, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and it's like looking at it going, oh my God, yeah, when's it going to get back to some form of normality again?